welcome everyone to this new moon in Scorpio. And let's see what it has for us. So the moon is happening, this moon is happening at 9 degrees 35 of Scorpio. It happened today at 1:45 universal time, Greenwich time. And so around 6 hours ago, 6 or 7 hours ago. And it's a big day today because it's like a conjunction of several, let's say, energies. It's a new moon. It's at the same time, it's Samhain, which is the beginning of the dark season in Celtic tradition. It's the 1st of November. It's the All Saints' Day, or the day between yesterday and today, where the veil is the thinnest between this world and the next. It was also Diwali yesterday, so there's a lot going on. There was a lot going on leading up to this moon, but like it's a pretty intense day, let's say, or a couple of days. Remember, new moons are beginning of cycles. They are moments to seed new intentions, and this one is particularly strong in this. And it's good times for starting something, starting a diet, starting a project, anything that you want to start. It's a very auspicious time to do it. Now, one of the interesting aspects of this moon is that it happening in Scorpio. 2 or 3 things about Scorpio. Scorpio is the emotional aspect of water out of all the elements of the zodiac. It's ruled by Pluto, the renewer. And we know that Pluto is very, very present and active at the moment. Scorpio is the sign of transformation, of death, money, secrets, underworld. It's, not very dark, but it has a very clear dark aspect. Very interesting way to say it, but a very, prominent darkness about it. It's related to the excretory system, which allows us to eliminate what we don't need. And this is very, very, let's say, present and a very important information for this particular new moon. Of course, it's a sign of intensity. Anytime you say Scorpio, intensity just flashes up everywhere. And it's the path towards transcendence. It's the sign that helps us transform what we've experienced into nutrients to nourish something that needs to be born. So in that aspect, it's very, very powerful. The mantra of Scorpio is I desire, and it's also one of the things we're going to be looking at today, because it's also that pull that leads us towards transformation, but by pulling us, by enticing us to look for something new, to look for rebirth, to look for, a new experience. It's very interesting because as I'm talking to you, like the intensity is surging everywhere in my body. Let's see how this alignment is going to continue. All right. So the first theme of this moon is clearly destruction and rebirth, and what we need to integrate, because for sure, and I'm sure you understand that from a mental perspective, but we need to integrate that to make this moon as useful as possible. For something new to be born, something must be destroyed. That's the only way. And Scorpio here speaks about several aspects of this idea. First of all, there's the desire of expansion of the spirit. of the essence, of our own essence, that seeks constant expansion, constant experimentation, because that's what we're here for. I think someone has their microphone open. Let me see. No, that's it. So that's one of the aspects that's very important, is to connect to that desire of expansion that we have within, which sometimes can be very clear and sometimes not so clear. If it's not so clear, this is a good moment to pause or search for it or connect to that or sit and be true to oneself and maybe rediscover our desires. Maybe we had it clear and maybe it's an old idea that needs to change right now. And for sure, each of us will be on a different point of their cycle, but it's clearly a moment to tune into that desire and to double check that we are pursuing something that is actual, that is correct, that is still valid for we are right now. The other aspect of that is that the end of a cycle requires that we let go of things so that we can move to another level of reality, to another state, to another frequency, to become that which we desire. You can't be something else by clinging to what you were. It's just like impossible. I can't even find an image to describe that. But maybe we can look at the animal world. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen spiders grow. To grow, they need to grow out of the exoskeleton. So it's super painful. When you see the images of that, is like the most excruciatingly painful thing. But then they get to be a bigger spider. Same with what are they called? That big crayfish that has big claws. Is the equivalent of Scorpio, but in the sea. What's the name of that? Lobster.
It is a crayfish.
Lobster.
Lobster, crayfish.
Yeah.
A lobster and a crayfish, they're the same.
Oh, there you
It's
go.
in the moon card.
Exactly. We are
The moon, the card in the moon where the lobster comes out the water.
Exactly. And that's where we are. That's where we are. We are in this type of energy. And they have the same difficulty to grow, as in because they have a hard shell and they need to grow out of it. And it's super painful, but it's necessary to move to another state of existence. The other, let's say, difficult aspect of Scorpio is that it speaks about change that sometimes we don't have time to prepare for. So it speaks of sudden and abrupt change. And what it's telling us is that the form must change. It's like the spirit has already formulated the desire. So that's what's pulling us ahead. The soul needs to accept, to let go. And the body needs to open to a radical change in form. So all aspects are activated. All aspects, well, at least the three aspects that we are most familiar with are called to do something in particular to contribute to that evolution. And maybe that's what makes it like very disorientating, because it's almost like there's little left as a point of reference, which, if seen from a point of view of creation, is amazing, because this is the moment where all possibilities can open again. But seen from a linear perspective, from a historical perspective, it's, oh, what am I going to become? Well, that's the game. That's the fun part. everything and anything, as long as we allow ourselves to do that, to go through change. So these things that I just talked about are not only carried by the archetype of Scorpio, but also by the position of the stars in relation to each other and how they echo each other's energy, which is like as just another layer to the cake. We have this new moon that is squaring Pluto in Capricorn, which is reinforcing the message that for something to be born, something needs to die. Only that it's adding the information that it's speaking about our fundamentals, the structural aspects of our reality. So think of everything that is you have believed so far is firmly anchored in your life. It can be relationships, it can be your job, it can be I don't know, your partnership, whatever that is the pillars of your existence, that is being minimum put into question. Worst case scenario, just like destroyed. And not destroyed as in a bad way. It can be destroyed so that it can be reborn under a new form. Some relationships can be transmuted and move on to a next level, but some other relationships just need to go. And again, that's very personal. It depends on where you're at in this. So, and Pluto in the last degree of Capricorn is being even more like hard because it's bringing out all the negative aspects of all those structures. So it helps us see where to bring change because it's showing them to us under their uncomfortable part, where they no longer contribute to what we want or to our path. So it's really like super blatant. It's like super direct, and you just can't afford to not seeing the need for change in those aspects of our life. So we need to look at that. There's not really a choice. We need to see where there is pain and to take responsibility for that pain, which doesn't mean like it's our fault or anything. The point is not to get into guilt, but to get into empowerment, to understand that whatever we have experienced or chose to experience so far is the path that allowed us to reach that point of transformation. And I don't know if I'm making myself clear. It's almost like acknowledging that we chose to go through that. And now we choose something else. And both are okay. It's okay to choose something else from what you chose so far. That's taking responsibility. However scary it is, however painful, however unsettling it is. And this is what the archetype of Scorpio requires now, and this is what it's helping us to achieve. The new moon is also trine Saturn in Pisces. Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. It speaks about structures as well. And being in Pisces, one of the meanings of that is that it contributes to the dissolution of those structures and to the creation of new ones that are at a higher octave, that help us move on to the next level of existence, which is what transcending means, which is what Scorpio is here to help us with, is to go through whatever level we exist in and move on to the next vibration. We have another very hard aspect, which might explain that you might feel anger, you might feel very stubborn, very unapologetic, and not open to negotiation, you know, some very hard line kind of behavior, which is Pluto opposing Scorpio, Pluto opposing Mars. Pluto rules Scorpio, and Mars is also the ancient ruler of Scorpio. And being together, like in this opposition that is almost, it's exact to the degree today, and I think it's going to be exact to the minute in a couple of days. But it's like fully operational, fully, and it can bring conflicts and the desire to, you know, to just go for it, to go to confrontation, it's very fiery, it's very explosive, it's very volcanic energy. And I mean, of course, it has two sides. The good side of it is allows you to push through, to just go for it, to go get what you need to get, to go and destroy what needs to be destroyed. But it can also heat up and get you to a place where you can be aggressive or have words that you don't really mean. So it's a very delicate thing to deal with, but it's important that you are aware of that this aspect exists, and that you can use it as well to move on. Just be careful how you treat others with this, because it can be, or even treat yourself, because it can bring just hardness, fire in the way you look at things and your perspective of things. And last but not least, as you can see, that's a lot of tough aspects, but there's another big one, which is Pluto trining Uranus in Taurus. Uranus is clearly a bringer of change, and it's the master of sudden changes, abrupt, super strong changes that will catapult you to another level. So here in the sky, they are collaborating. Pluto is doing its part of destruction, and Uranus is doing this part of its part of construction, of giving you like ideas that are out of this world, that are pulling you towards like stratospheric highs and ideas and projects and desires. So, but it is very explosive. It is very strong. So, what do we make of that? Well, this is all, let's say, telling us that we need to understand that it is a necessary step to go through this. So the more we surrender to the death and transformation, because this is what it is about. There's a part of us that needs to die. There's no nice way to say it. And so the more we surrender to this death and to transformation, the less painful it's going to be. And the more we'll allow ourselves to be attracted by the light on the other side, the more joyous and the more creative the process. So sometimes we can find ourselves in this very weird state of wanting to cry and dance at the same time, because part of us understands that this is good and we're getting another degree of freedom in our being. It's like we're unlocking a new degree of freedom, and part of us is just like crying their heart out for what's being lost and what's going out, what's going away, sorry. That's what it is to be human, I suppose, I guess. And where does that take us? So this is clearly helping us transcend to another frequency altogether, beyond transcending to another reality, like physical reality of ourselves. It's also getting us acquainted with more subtle realms. So the fact that it's happening at the same time as Samhain, the Celtic festival. It's a festival associated with the West, the direction of death, once again. And as I said, with Halloween, All Saints' Day, where the veil is thinner. The West also is the direction of integration, of resolution of conflict, of abandonment of all ideas. Really, there's that. It's when the sun sets, where the sun dies, to be reborn the next day. And Samhain opens the dark season that's gonna last for 6 months until May, until Beltane. And it's the season where we gestate a new reality. So out of the 4 cycles of life, we're entering the integration and transcendence cycles, the 2 parts of the dark cycle. And in spring, we'll be able, maybe before, but like conceptually, the next cycle is the cycle of expression, expressing that new part of us, that new form of us that we've been gestating for 6 months. And it's what allows it to move to the next level is because we've integrated whatever we let go of. We made it like how'd you say, the extra thing that we add to plants to make them grow bigger. I forgot the name.
Fertilizer.
Thank you, fertilizer.
Fertilizer.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Fertilizer for our next version. So we're gearing ourselves up for a new perspective, and it includes a connection to more subtle realities. Absolutely. This is where we are. Like today is totally the day for that. Probably the one day in the year for that. So, and there's another one last thing that I want to share with you is there's another important information in today's chart is the idea of empowerment. There is a grand trine in water signs. We have Mercury that is in Scorpio trining. A trine is usually a positive aspect, not a positive, let's say harmonious, like where energy flows very smoothly, which has a good side and it's like more negative sides. But we have Mercury in Scorpio that is trine Neptune in Pisces, and they are trine Mars in Cancer. So this can go 2 ways. It can keep us in the loop of victimhood and drown in our tears and in our repeating thoughts and in our emotions and keep victimizing ourselves, and that we're not having, that it's too hard, that we're not having what we want, and that everyone is a bad person, etc., etc. Or we can use that emotional, let's say, flow that is coming to us to rise to the next level, to use whatever negative reality or negative emotion that we are experiencing as a springboard to become aware of what we truly want and create it. Mars is giving us like the power to act. Mercury is really connecting us to understanding, and being in Scorpio is the one that sees in the dark. And Mercury being there is like, it really help us discern things and understand what's going on. So, and Neptune being in its own sign of Pisces is like, the Pisces is the sign of returning to the one, of inspiration, of, of divinity, of our divine part. And if we use these archetypes positively, we can use all those emotions to rise to a new level of consciousness and to a more subtle connection to what's around us. Chiron as well is very present today. It's squaring both Pluto and Mars, the rulers, of Scorpio, which is and Chiron is in Aries, so it's reminding us of the power of the I am. You know, this is where our healing resides, in returning to us, to our center, to who we are, to our highest form of consciousness. So that's a lot for one single astronomical event. It's at the same time very intense, but very powerful, and there's like amazing potential for transformation. It's like a turbocharged for moving on to something else. It's truly the end of a cycle. And at the moment, transformation is at its peak. So it's a time of hard breaks and heartbreaks as well, from thinking of the hearts. It's really like the announcement of something new that needs to be born. So let's create space for it. Just remember to find moments to relax through it, you know, and to allow that new baby to come out. So yeah, and remember also that your dreams is also another force that you can use. There's the push of allowing that new reality to be born, but the pull of your desires. What is it that you're aiming for? What is it that your heart pulls you towards? So yeah, that's this moon. I hope it makes sense. So let's ask the people of Inner Earth what advice they have for us today. Okay, I got two cards. I got the card of transition. Can you see? I can't see. Transition. You see that little boat floating on a river of light on the Milky Way, I guess, in the sky. And we have fraternity from the Atlanteans, which is a big heart. And let's see what that means. Transition from Hyperboreans. Okay. We, the Hyperboreans, are the sovereigns of the spiritual world and its diffusion. Like a great vessel, the Earth moves in the stellar regions that are rising into new vibrations. With her, the Earth, all her children are entering in new regions of cosmic space, and the people on the surface is doing the same. Today, we would like to speak to you about this period of transition and the lack of point of reference that you might feel. This in-between worlds in between two worlds, a model is being deleted and a new one is being seeded and in gestation. We advise you simply to entertain and direct your actions and thoughts towards the emerging model. You have the necessary energies to participate to its emergence. You don't need to think about the old model and about its collapse. Don't be afraid of this transition. Accompany it with all your love and all your softness. The key is accompany and work for the world that you want to see spring forth on earth, and let go of the old in its web of the past. Very nice. I like it very much. I show you the image again. And the next one is from ancient Atlanteans fraternity. I like that. We, the ancient Atlanteans, had reached a golden age when our civilization still lived above the surface of Earth. We had reached a high degree of harmony and organization supported by superior spiritual values. We knew the law of one. Acting from the space of fraternity within us was the key. The decline arrived when our actions deviated from this sacred space. The egotic will of certain beings disturbed the harmony and the fraternal organization of our system, of our life system. And we would like to remind you of the importance of acting from the sacred space of fraternity within you. You are supported by the highest planes of creation from the moment your ambitions are created from an ideal bigger beyond your own personal perspectives. The key is your actions must emanate from the fraternal region of your being. Therefore, they follow the unique law or the law of one. I guess that describes the space of fraternity. Okay. Let's go for the meditation. I'm gonna put the music on. All right. Can you hear me well above the music? If you can just, okay, super. All right. Sit comfortably and close your eyes. You can move your body a little bit, stretch. Just to release a little bit your joints. If you feel the need to, you can massage your body. And when you're ready, sit still and start focusing on your breath. You can take a few deep breaths, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. You can do that a couple of more times to release any tensions, any excess of energy, any thoughts. And one last time, take a deep breath in and maybe hold your breath for a couple of seconds. And exhale. And come back to normal breathing. And place your attention on your breath. Observing the air coming in and out from your nose as you inhale and exhale through the nose only. And I'll start to think of a place in nature that I like, a place that I know that is real or that is imaginary, a place where I feel good, where I feel safe, a place where I enjoy being. And I find a place there where I can sit and see the horizon. I look around, letting my surroundings be absorbed within. And in front of me, I see a lake, a peaceful lake with clear waters, where I can see the reflection of the sky with all the stars and the constellations. Above me is the star Antares, the master star, the heart of the Scorpio, guardian of the West, the heart of the blue dragon. I come back to my breath, and this time, with the inhale, I open my crown like a flower, and with the exhale, I exhale down the spine, into the perineum, down my legs, anchoring myself into earth. And I repeat this cycle with each breath. As I inhale, I open my crown. And with the exhale, I close the crown and go down the spine into the perineum. And I continue feeling my axis, my vertical axis, my spine being activated each time a little bit more with each breath. I see, feel, or imagine a golden light coming from Antares, entering through my crown and filling up my entire spine. It goes down my crown, my third eye, my throat, and comes down bit by bit, illuminating my entire spine. As it reaches my perineum, it continues to flow further down into my legs, my knees, my lower legs, my calves, my ankles, down to my feet. And as I allow this light in, I understand that it connects me with the spiritual guides and brings in the light that allows me to shed all illusions. I take a deep breath in and a deep breath out, allowing that light to flow and settle in into my entire body. And I look at the lake in front of me, and I start seeing shapes moving. I get up and start walking towards the lake. And as I get closer, I realize that these shapes, like outlines, are mirrors of myself. Aspects of me lying in my unconscious that I now clearly discern. And I step into the water. Walking into those clear waters, and as I get closer to these outlines, I take a moment to recognize each of them as one of my patterns. I take the time to observe. I walk deeper into the lake until I find myself in the middle of these dancing outlines. And I allow myself to be penetrated by them. And as I do so, for each outline that touches me, it finds its place and its purpose within me and on my path. And with each pattern that I integrate, a spark lights up and forms a halo emanating from within. I continue to meet these dancing outlines, integrating more of them as I choose. And each time, another spark lights up. And the halo is a little bit stronger. And I continue until the lake becomes clear again and peaceful. And I take a moment to enjoy the perfect tranquility of the lake, to enjoy the peaceful waters, the calm surface. And I relax completely, allowing myself to be carried by these waters. And I look within. And as I turn my attention inwards, breathing in and out very gently, my attention is drawn to my heart. And I become aware that light is pouring out of my heart like a fountain nourishing my entire body with luminous and warm waters. I see that light flowing within me, and I understand that I am the infinite source of light. And as such, I am free of form, allowing myself to expand, transform, die, and come back to the void to expand once again into a new form in search of new experiences. For I am constant change. And I am. I take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And I expand this information with the sound N, the nasal sound N, or the sound A. I take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. I place my hands on my heart. And from there, I bring that information to my entire body. Massaging and caressing my body from head to toe. Stretching, yawning as I feel the need to. And when I'm ready, I can open my eyes. Thank you very much for being here once again today. I wish you a beautiful, beautiful new moon. And I will see you next week. No, not next week, at the next moon phase in 2 weeks.